One record says March, another says April. A medical note talks about pain, your personal statement talks about what happened, and a C&P examination report uses a completely different set of words. So which version of your story is the VA looking at? That question can feel frightening. But here's the point I want you to hold on to. A conflict in the record is not automatically a verdict. It is a question to identify, preserve, and verify.
My take is simple. When evidence disagrees, do not panic, and do not bury the issue under a mountain of extra paperwork. First, name the conflict. Second, keep the surrounding context. Third, turn the conflict into a focused question for qualified help. Facts over frustration. Education before action.
Welcome to the Veteran Benefits Reset Podcast, where we help veterans and their families better understand the VA disability benefits process one step at a time. I'm your host, Cameron Burrell, a U.S. Army veteran and founder of VetBiz Media. Today, we are going to build a practical conflict map. We will use one fictional example throughout the episode so the process feels concrete instead of abstract. We will also keep an important boundary in view. This is educational information, not individualized legal, medical, or claims advice. I cannot tell you what a particular document means for your claim or predict a VA decision. Every veteran's records and circumstances are different. The goal is to help you become more organized and prepared for a conversation with a VA-accredited VSO, claims agent, or attorney. Let's call our example veteran Marcus. Marcus served in the Army. He remembers shoulder pain beginning during a field exercise. His service treatment record shows a visit in March of 2008 and says he reported pain for 2 weeks. Years later, a personal statement says the pain began during an April training event and continued after service. Then a 2016 medical note says he has had shoulder pain for several years. At first glance, Marcus might think, the dates do not match. I must have a problem. Maybe, maybe not. We do not know that from these lines alone. The first responsible move is smaller. Identify exactly what differs. Is it the date of the event, the date of the visit, the date symptoms were first noticed? Those are not necessarily the same date. That is the first kind of conflict. Facts. Facts can include dates, locations, units, job duties, exposures, events, or the words used for a diagnosis. The key is to describe the difference precisely. The records conflict is vague. The treatment note is dated March, while the later statement places the training event in April, gives you something real to examine. Before deciding which document is correct, go back to the complete record whenever you can. Look at the date, the author, the surrounding paragraph, and the source of the information. A treatment note may record what a patient reported that day. A personnel record may contain an administrative entry. A decision letter may summarize evidence without reproducing every word. And a difference in wording is not always a contradiction. Worked around aircraft and served as a mechanic could describe overlapping parts of the same experience. On the other hand, two records may genuinely identify different duties or locations. Your job at this stage is not to rewrite the history so every line matches. Your job is to find the original source that may clarify what each line was describing. Now, look at timing. Marcus remembers the pain starting during training. The service record documents one visit. The later medical note describes years of pain. Those entries may relate to one continuing problem, but they speak from different points in time. Symptoms can begin before treatment. Treatment can happen before a formal diagnosis. A diagnosis can use more specific language than the original complaint. A gap in treatment can also raise questions. People leave the military, change jobs, lose insurance, move, care for family, or learn to work around symptoms. And here is where people often jump too far. There was a gap, so the VA must think nothing happened. We cannot assume that. A gap is a fact in the record. The reason for the gap is a separate question. For a timing review, write down what is known, what is uncertain, and what may be worth verifying. You might list the training period, the first remembered symptoms, the documented visit, later treatment, and the date of a formal diagnosis. If the exact month is unclear, say that. During the deployment period, exact date unknown, is more accurate than choosing a date just to make the timeline look neat. The third kind of conflict is interpretation. Documents do not all have the same job. A veteran can describe first-hand experiences, what happened, what was felt, what changed, and how daily activities were affected. A clinician may evaluate symptoms, perform an examination, provide a diagnosis, or offer a medical opinion. A C&P examiner may address specific questions within the VA examination process.
Marcus might write, "After the training exercise, my shoulder hurt when I threw a ball, and I stopped playing softball." A clinician might write, "The patient reports shoulder pain and has reduced range of motion." An examiner might discuss diagnosis, functional effects, or the medical relationship to service. These statements may connect, but they are not interchangeable. A first-hand account is not the same thing as a medical conclusion, and a medical conclusion is not the same thing as an examination assessment.
Be careful with words like proved, disproved, or ignored. A note that does not mention a symptom is not always the same as a note saying the symptom was absent. A diagnosis that appears later does not automatically answer when symptoms began. And a statement that something is possible is not automatically a medical opinion connecting it to service. Now let's put Marcus's records into a conflict map. You can use paper, a spreadsheet, or a document. 4 columns are enough. Column 1. The document. Service treatment record, March 12, 2008. Column 2. The exact statement, or a short quotation that stays faithful to the record. Reports shoulder pain for 2 weeks. Column 3. The neutral comparison. This documents shoulder pain during service, but it does not answer how long the pain continued afterward. Column 4. The question to verify. Are there additional records or first-hand details that clarify the period between this visit and later treatment? Notice what is not in that map. There are no accusations, no guess about what a reviewer must have meant, no rewritten version of history. The map is not a closing argument. It is a way to preserve context and identify the next question. Keep complete copies of the records, not just screenshots or isolated sentences. Preserve dates and sources. If you share documents for review, remove unnecessary personal information and use trusted channels. Share records with a properly accredited representative when appropriate, not with strangers promising a particular result. Then take the map to a VA-accredited veteran service organization, claims agent, or attorney, depending on your circumstances. Useful questions might include, are these statements truly inconsistent, or are they describing different moments? Which original records should be verified? What does the evidence establish, and what does it not establish? Could clarification, additional records, or a review option be relevant under current VA procedures? If you have a decision letter, read the reasons and bases carefully, but remember that a summary is not always the entire evidence record. Note which documents are mentioned, which statements appear to be accepted or questioned, and whether the letter identifies a missing element or unresolved issue. Organize those questions before deciding what to do next. Current procedures can change, so verify information through official VA resources and accredited guidance.
If you remember one thing, remember this. A difference in the record is not automatically a defeat. Name the fact conflict, the timing conflict, or the interpretation conflict. Preserve the complete documents. Then map one issue using the records you already have.
Your practical action before the next episode is simple. Choose one issue. Create 4 columns. Document, exact statement, neutral, agreement or disagreement, and question to verify. Do not fill gaps with guesses. Do not send more paperwork just to feel busy. Organize, verify, and discuss the questions with an accredited professional when appropriate. 1 step, 1 record, 1 mission. Thanks for listening to the Veteran Benefits Reset podcast. I hope this episode gave you a clearer way to review evidence that does not appear to line up. This podcast is an independent educational resource. It is not legal or medical advice, and it does not replace guidance from a VA-accredited veteran service organization, claims agent, or attorney. Every veteran's service, medical history, and claim are unique.
If you found today's episode helpful, follow the podcast, leave a review, and share it with another veteran, family member, or caregiver who could benefit. You can download the free 7-step Veteran Benefits Reset Guide at vetbizmedia.com/veteran7. It can help you begin organizing your military, medical, employment, and VA records. Until next time, stay organized, stay informed, and remember, your service did not expire. Your story is still worth reviewing. Take the next responsible step.